I'm Chido, founder of Dhuba Handcrafted. Dhuba means zebra in Dao, a dialect from Zimbabwe, Chipinge. Each zebra is different with its stripes, so that's a representation of our products. Uniquely made. Each bag is unique. Each neck piece is unique in its own way. Yeah, so that's where we got the name, Dhuba. I love to create. I always have. So in terms of creativity, that has always been me. So I think I started wedding invitations, a whole lot of products, but I think this is me. This is a true reflection of who I am and where I want the brand to go. So yeah, what inspired me? It's just everything. I mean, just wanting to create something unique. 2007, it was my wedding invitation card. I was working with one of these top wedding designers, Zilla Tangerine. So, coming up with a concept for my card, she showed me a couple of ideas. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. She's like, oh, okay, what would you want? We tried so many things, but I just couldn't get it exactly the way I wanted. So she's like, no, at least she gave me that platform to sort of come up with what I wanted. And then that's when then we did the cards, and we had a bit of different feel to it in terms of textures that we used. And that did my wedding invitation. Everybody was just talking about it. Every time I would hand it to somebody, it was like, oh, wow. And I had one of my guests actually frame it and gave me as a gift. They're like, this is art. So from there, I left my job, started doing wedding invitations for people. I'm a banker. I was a banker by profession. And then that's when I started doing wedding invitations. They were always very unique. That was always our signature, having them very uniquely made. Yeah, so that's how it started, weddings, and then got into earrings, and this is where we are now. Waking up every day knowing I have a chance to create and express myself through art. That's what motivates me every day. I wake up to say, okay, today what am I going to do differently? Yeah, so I create, whether it could be a bag, it could be earrings, it could be anything. It could even be just, the way I go about my day. I just always want to do something different. People understanding my wild imagination. Yeah, I think that has been, people to try and understand, like you make something, they're like, oh, this is nice, but can't we make it a bit subtle? So I think I've had a challenge with that from the wedding industry, and then we moved up to even fashion accessories where people be like, oh, yeah, it's nice, but can't we tone it down a little bit? But yeah, I kept on pushing, I kept on pursuing it, I kept on believing in it. And then I managed to get the right clientele who understood my art and appreciated the textures. Let me show you how it looks with the strap on. So it comes with a chain as well as the strap, but it's up to you. This is where I am, so I definitely say, don't stop. If you believe in something, don't stop. So we ended up having this concept where we come up with 3-4 different designs for a client, because I'd have my own idea, and then I would have to, so I think that's when it started, where you've got your crazy idea. And then I'd have to tone it down a little bit, and then people would always choose the one that's sort of toned down. I think that's the one thing that also sort of made me move away from that, because I wasn't able to create. So in terms of the fashion industry, I do have moments where I create something and I think this is it, and then I go to the market. I think maybe 1 or 2 people say, oh, yeah, it's nice, and the rest, no. So I still face it, and I don't stop. I still continue. The highlights too, I'll start with last year, which was the travels to the United Kingdom through Zimtrade. I think that for me was like a huge highlight. I managed to sort of find representations from all over, for Seychelles, Australia, Germany, Ghana, Uganda, and so many countries. So I think that for me was a highlight. But the most recent one was working with Fraser. I had the opportunity to accessorize him at his album launch. For me, I think that was the biggest highlight so far. It just allowed me to create. I got a place and a platform to go wild and create something that was crazy, and then people actually appreciated everyone, everywhere. not to sort of specify it to just one. Everybody appreciated it. So I think for me that was the highlight, working with Fraser and United Kingdom trip. There's no such thing as a bad move, like a bad step or whatever. whatever you do, whether good or bad, you have to always look at the positive. What have I learned? What am I carrying forward into the next chapter or the next day, basically? So I'll definitely say there's no such thing as a bad or wrong move. Whatever you feel like doing in that moment, just do it. Something good will come out of it. Even in your good and your bad moments, just create. Most of my work, most of my like really good work, I've done under immense pressure in my personal life. You know, you'd be surprised what I've done and accomplished. You know, when you look at a masterpiece, you think, oh, this is really nice, this. But I would have been in a very dark space in my life. So I find when I'm creating, that's my platform to sort of release everything. You know, whether I'm in a good space or whether I'm in a bad space, I'm just always creating. So every time I'm always smiling, I'm always bubbly. I don't have a moment where I'm saying, oh, I'm really down and I can't work today. So in my good and bad moments, I create, but I create my best work in my darkest, in my bad moments. And so I think because of that, I have to always I'm continuously creating because it's therapeutic, and I just can't sit still. As a creative, you know, everything around is like, okay, maybe like 30 minutes I'm resting, then I have to do something comes to mind, let me write it down. So I'm always creating, my mind is always racing in terms of creating, in terms of art. So yeah, so I enjoyed this. I like really enjoy it. I'm super excited about, you know, the next chapter and where we're going. So my next chapter is home accessories. Yeah, it's just something I've just been sitting on, just contemplating, thinking, will people understand it? But working with Jar Praiser, and it just opened up doors for me just to say, okay, yeah, I'm allowed to go crazy. I'm allowed to create. I'm allowed to think outside the box. So yeah, home accessories is another platform that I'm going to show my other side, my creative side. So that will include wall art, lampshades, anything really, from poufs, anything really that has to do with home. So I'm just excited where that will take. Of lampshades. It's a work in progress. But what inspired me is what are these called? Seaweeds. Just how they're waving through. So this is something that's a part of our new range. Yet to be, you know, I don't know what the word is. But yeah, it's part of our new range. So the seaweed lampshade, so it's best when it's hung up, and yeah, so we definitely do it in different colors, different textures, and see how it comes out. And then you have the poufs. These are ideal for your home, just to add a bit of color, flair to it. Part of our new range. Again, this is a combination of weaving and crocheting, so it comes in a variety of colors, just to add that into your home. I'd say just do it. You know, whether it's okay, if it's baking, if it's anything, really just do it. If it's a call that you need to make, if it's a text that you need to, if it's you sitting down to actually write it down, just do it. Just start somewhere, start small. I've been doing this for how many years now? I think I've started in the wedding industry a long time ago. So just start where you are, whatever you've got. You don't have to have, sometimes people think, yes, man, you need this. Start small, start with what you have. I mean, even in the Bible, it says, what is in your hands, start there. For me, I just recently got married when I quit my job. So it was okay, my husband supported me then. He was like, no, just do it, you know. So, and I was young. So, but if you feel you're ready to, then yeah, I'd say maybe if you've got some sort of support structure, then yeah, go ahead. Just don't jump and say, okay, this isn't. Just start slowly, you know, start to gradually get into it. Don't just, you know, yeah, I think gradually get into it, but just start.